But
Yeah.
let's finish off talking about the summer transfer window. It's obviously there for all to see that we need a winger coming in from now to the end of the season. I'm going to start with Amir on this one because I know exactly what he's going to say. But what winger do you want to see us bring in the summer?
Well, you know exactly what I'm gonna say, but it's quite a tricky name. I don't even know if I can, but I'll give it a shot. So I want your man from Napoli, Khartatsvelia. I think that's how you say his name. The Georgian Messi. For me, he's our man. He's gonna cost a ton of money. But Mr. Levy, just get your wallet out because this guy's worth it. You know, he's young, he fits the bill, he's strong, he's fantastic on the ball, he can beat a man. Players haven't got a clue which way he's going, left or right, and he's got a finish on him.
Do you think that's realistic? Is it realistic to bring in a Kavisha in the summer? Seeing as Napoli aren't even doing well this season, is he going to look to leave in the summer?
Why not? Why limit ourselves? You know, any wingers that we're looking at, you know, I think we should be looking at the top draw. At the end of the day, you know, you want players to come in and you want them to fight for their place in the 11. So there's no point, you know, with all due respect to Timo Werner, there's no point in signing someone like Werner permanently. You want to bring in someone young, a replacement that for you know, Sonny over the years, someone that's going to come in and you know, really even battle Sonny for that place. You know, that's what you want. That's what Liverpool have. That's what City have, and that's what will push us further in the long run. So that's the guy I want. That's my man. There's a few other, you know, niggling subjects that are you know, all over the place. Good players that I'm looking at, but he's the one that really excites me, and I think, you know, he could suit this Ange team because he's got a good ball on him as well. He knows how to place the ball. He'd slot into that front three perfectly.
Ariane, who would you like to see?
For me, it would be clearly Neto, but I'm, especially with the amount of hamstring injuries we have, that just worries me too much. So because solely off of that, my pick is Nico Williams. I think that kid is, I think Khvisha is a very good shout in terms of, I think he's definitely, at the moment, he's a better player. I don't think anyone's gonna. I think he's a better finish. He's definitely stronger. He's more polished. But for me, Williams is much more dynamic. I think he's a better creator, and I think the parts of his game that probably aren't quite there, which is his just his decision making quite at the very in the box, pretty much just the final shot. Really, I don't even think his passing is all that out. I think he's an excellent creator. He's a lot of, when Brennan Johnson plays well and he's in the position and he's giving that pass and he's giving the final ball, that's what he does best. The best of Brennan Johnson is, I think, what Nico Williams is like. It does consistently for Athletic Club when I watch him play. He's dynamic. He's a lot dribblier than anybody we have. Get one-on-one, no idea where he's going. Bam, left, right, boom, and he cuts it inside, cuts it back for his brother most of the time, who's going to slot it in. And I think he is outstanding. And in a Spurs shirt, Ange's going to get exactly the best out of him. 1v1, pacey. He's exactly what we want down the wings. Imagine him and Johnson both knowing exactly what to do, cutting it back. It's going to be total mayhem on the wings for any fullbacks. And then you have Son or Richarlison ready to just slot it home. Oh, my God. Him, I think he'd be outstanding. But again,
how old is he, Ariane?
I think he'd be
21.
Oh, he's only 21. Wow. Wow, yeah, he'd be a very good shout as well, to be fair.
Nico Williams has got all the attributes. He's yet to explode, really, in an Athletic Bilbao shirt. He's not pulling up crazy numbers as of yet. I think this season is, 6 assists and 3 goals or something. Does that concern you at all, or is he just waiting to explode?
I think he's waiting. I think this is where he's gonna explode. I think we have the pyrotechnic. That's what I'm saying, right? We have Ange Postecoglou. He's gonna be the one to light the fuse. 21-year-old doing in La Liga, doing outstanding. Just when you watch him play, and he's 1v1, you yourself have absolutely no clue what's gonna happen. When I watch Kulusevski, The defenders clearly have no idea what's going to happen, but I know what he's going to do. I always know what Kulusevski's going to do, and I love Kulusevski, right? I know what he's. I have no clue what the hell Nico Williams has in his back pocket ever. I've never watched him think he's going to do this. He always, I'm like, he's going to cut inside, and he does a step over, drops his shoulder. I'm like, he's the cut inside, and then boom, he tricks me while I'm watching. No other winger does that for me. I think he is exactly what we need, where he's just going to just do that one thing that nobody expects, and he's going to create that little half space and cut it back, and boom, there's another last-minute winner.
Sim?
I think, Nico Williams would be my pick just because I think age-wise, I think he can play on both wings as well. I think dribbling-wise, I think exactly what we need. We need someone who's able to beat a man consistently. But if he's unattainable for whatever reason, there's rumours that Arsenal and Chelsea are going to be involved in a bidding war. So there's a chance maybe we can't
He's
get
got a
him.
release clause.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what the situation is with him. If we can't get him, I think the next two down the list would be obviously Pedro Neto, who I absolutely adore. I think he's in terms of perfect for our system, Premier League ready, the kind of profile he is. I think he is so perfect. I think there's very few players in world football who are just as comfortable very few wingers who are just as comfortable on both wings like Pedro Neto is. He can be equally comfortable on the left or the right. In a way, if he can stay fit, you don't need to sign two wingers because he can just play on both sides. He's that good. And then obviously we got other players in those positions. So I absolutely love Pedro Neto. Obviously there is the caveat. He has had injuries. There is an issue that seems to be plaguing him. He had some serious injuries as well. But if he can pass a medical, I think he'll probably be number one in terms of who I want. I think I'll probably prefer him to Nico Williams in terms of a player, just because his injuries give that caveat. And then the next one on my list would be Michael Olise from Palace. Again, you have another problem. He also has hamstring problem injuries. He has picked up a few injuries. But if he's a player he's still very young, I think 21 years of age. I think he's actually got more quality than Pedro Neto with his left foot. The problem with comparing him to Neto is I think Neto's more of a both-way winger, whereas Olise is more of a winger who just likes to cut inside on his left foot. But he's that effective on his left foot. It might be worth having. I do think he's got a bit more quality on that left peg as well. I think he's got a great shot on him. He's got maybe a bit of a better cross on him as well. I absolutely adore Michael Olise as well. I do think he's attainable. Will he be more expensive than Neto? I'm not 100% sure, but I think I love Michael Olise so much. I think he'd be an amazing addition. I don't think he can go both ways like Neto does. I don't think you can put Olise on the left and him being an effective winger like Neto. So that's why I kind of prefer Neto to him. But I do think Olise's got a bit more quality. So I think he'd be next on my list. But I think Neto is kind of a dream. If we can keep him fit, I think he is just incredible. I think he's just so perfect. I really do.
If injuries weren't an issue, he had to be everyone's number one choice because he is just perfect what we want to do. Absolutely perfect. But the injuries are a massive concern, as they are with Michael Olise as well, especially as it's hamstrings. And we all know what happens with Ange Postecoglou's systems and hamstrings. It just seems to be a recurring problem, even at Celtic. So with the money that Olise is going to cost, I think it's also a massive concern. But Pedro Neto, I do believe that, as much as I've said consistently his injury problems are a massive concern, if he can stay fit from now to the end of the season, I would do it. I really would, for 60, 70 million odd. But I would like to throw in another couple of names in there that haven't been mentioned. I mean, Bakayoko of PSV. I think he's absolutely insane with his one-on-one dribbling out on the right wing. I watched him play in a couple of Champions League games this season as well. I think he's been brilliant. And in the Eredivisie as well, he's getting high number of assists. And also in the Championship, you got to look at Plymouth's Morgan Whittaker with the amount of goal contributions that he's been pulling in this season is absolutely insane. I think 14 goals and 7 assists at 23 years of age, and he's their captain. I think we should be looking at someone like him as well. So I would take any of the guys that have been mentioned so far in this video. I think that they would all be really good, astute signings for us.
Other names potentially are like maybe teams who are more attainable, because obviously we haven't mentioned a couple people like Rafinha, who's obviously been linked and stuff. But I don't know about Rafinha. I'm not 100% sold on him as much as I think he's a great player.
But would you have said that after his Leeds coming out of Leeds?
I really wanted him at Leeds, but it's not quite worked at Barcelona for one reason or another. I think he could work at Tottenham. It would be a good signing. But one of the name I think would be perfect for Spurs, but he might be very expensive, is Mitoma. I think Matoma, I know he's a bit older, 26, maybe not, doesn't have that young dynamic age that we're looking for in terms of resale value, but in terms of a profile of player, I love Matoma. I think he'd be a great signing. He'd be perfect, but Brighton always come on big fees, so I don't like, if you're going to spend 60, 70 million on a player, do you want a younger player rather than someone who's 26? I reckon that's where the
got in
clubs
his
are looking
contract, Mitoma? Because we did do the dirty with them on Bissouma. We got Bissouma for like 25 million off
He's
them.
2027.
Okay.
So he's got a long time on his contract. So if we do get Champions League football and with the FFP issues when we do get Champions League and with the FFP issues surrounding a lot of the top clubs, is there any chance we put our balls on the table and go big on for someone like Rafael Leao?
I mean, we should. We really should. It's like the same what Amir was saying with Kavisha, you know. If we get Champions League football, there is no reason why we shouldn't just put our balls on the table, go heavy on a winger. There is no reason why we shouldn't. If you're looking at the positions that we desperately need and the last jigsaws to the puzzle, pieces to the puzzle, you know, why not go massive on a winger when you're looking at the striker department for next season, have Alejo, Veliz and Richarlison in that position. Centre-back positions seem to be sorted as well, potentially with Ashley Phillips coming in, potentially bringing in one more. There's just a few little niggling positions like a competition for Destiny Udogie at left back, maybe one more midfielder in there when Højbjerg goes. But the big signing has to come in on the winger position, and why not go spend 70 to 100 million on a player like Leao and Kavisha? I don't see a reason why not.
Yeah,
Levy will find a reason. Sorry, Sid. Yeah,
no, I agree.
We did spend 60 on Richarlison. We spent 50 on Brennan Johnson.
Good point.
That's exactly it, though. It's what I've been calling out for so long. For me, then no one can come and have, you know, any discussions. Oh, we don't put the money down. Oh, there's a reason that we're not succeeding. Give Ange exactly what he needs to succeed next season and build off what we're building this season. It's a rare opportunity that we have with the FFP thing and, you know, that whole advantage that we've gained in that realm of football now that is there. So why not take advantage and use it? And if it is only an extra 20 million or 15 million, put it on. Instead of going for somebody that is not ready yet. Bring in the players with experience. They already have played in Champions Leagues. They know what big games are. They're ready-made.
In terms of like someone like a Leao, apparently he does want to move to the Premier League. It's well documented, and like in terms of Premier League clubs, like in being in accordance with FFP and stuff. Obviously, you got the top sides. I mean, are Liverpool going to spend that amount of money to get him? Arsenal have someone like Martinelli there. City just signed Doku, and they got Grealish on the left hand side. Obviously, there's Chelsea who could always put the money up, but if he's looking for Champions League football, I mean, could Tottenham be a viable destination for someone 100%.
Like him? I don't see. There's no reason why not. The only reason why not is because we more than likely will probably go for a more up and coming player that costs half the price than someone like a Rafael Leao. But I want to see us go big, and there is no reason with where the squad is at right now, the work that Big Ange is doing, the threshold we have with FFP, the money that also we've been spending recently. Why not just go big on that winger? There is no reason, in my opinion.
You look at the summer, right? You look at the summer. We, like you said, we spent 50 on Brennan Johnson, and we brought in Mickey Van de Ven. We brought in, we've had outstanding recruitment from the summer. Now, January was the first. The reason I was so happy about January, it was the first season. Screw the amount of money we spent because it wasn't much. It was a loan and 20 million. But it was the first time I have ever, in my lifetime, seen Spurs be proactive instead of reactive in the transfer window. Proactive. We got Dragusin and we got Werner in early, and that was massive for us. We weren't able to get some of the outgoings, but it wasn't really our fault. We weren't able to get Højbjerg. We weren't able, and that was kind of contingent, because it wasn't even like a money thing. Look, why would we sign a midfielder if we have Højbjerg? That would just be stupid squad management. So outside of those things that really were out of our control, I thought we did outstanding in terms of our proactivity in the window, and we have been spending the money because 20 million on a center back in January, we haven't even done that. we haven't even for where our bar is, and admittedly it's a low bar. We haven't even hit that in recent times in the January window. It's been a bunch of loans, and it's been outside of like that one where we got Benson, Corey, Kulusevski, right? And Levy has shown one thing, and it's the windows where the manager has performed. For Conte, that was the season where he finished 4th. He backed Conte big time, right? We weren't able to get Bastoni. We did get Longley, but it was well documented that Conte wanted Longley, and that I think we bid Inter's asking price for Bastoni, and we just weren't. He just didn't want to come. And then outside of that, Conte won Longley, and that's that. But besides that, we spent 60 on Richarlison. We spent pretty big on him, and we got Perisic, which we never get a 33-year-old, right? So he backed Conte in that summer, and he failed. And Ange came in, and even though he hadn't had anything outside of a preseason game, he backed him. I think he got him some outstanding requirement. Mickey Van de Ven has been probably he's arguably signing of the season with how great he's been. And then James Maddison, Brennan Johnson, lots of big money there. Vicario, outstanding again. And then, like I said, proactive in January. So Levy has, to his credit, when the manager was performing, he has backed him in the last 2-3 years, which I think are relevant to this conversation. And we have nothing. We have only about maybe 2. We have a backup goalkeeper we need to probably worry about for Vicario. We have a backup left back we need to worry about for Udogie. But outside of that, we have a midfielder and a winger, and there is no reason in a summer window when you only have 2. When was the last time Spurs had 2 positions to worry about in a summer window? 2. Never. That hasn't happened like in how long? 2 positions?
Long time.
There's no excuse not to hit 70 million and call it.
100%. I totally agree. But in terms of back on the Rafael Leao thing, I mean, he is having a bit of a poor season out in AC Milan this year, as well as Kavisha at Napoli. I mean, do we want to spend this kind of money on those 2 players? I know they're top quality players, but is their form and their seasons concerning?
Their coaches stuff.
3 goals this season for Rafael Leao.
Yeah. In 9 assists though, so he is still
7.
It says here 9. I got 9 assists
Maybe in
here.
all comps.
Yeah, mate. Look, when it comes to spending 100 million, maybe I guess you can definitely argue that, and especially as well with Leao. Does he have the right character that you want in the dressing room? Is he going to come as like a superstar who's going to, throw his weight around a bit? I don't know what kind of character he's. I know he's like a bit of a rapper. I know he's got that kind of side.
We've
to
got Emerson for that.
I'm not saying he's a bad character. I don't know. But I don't know if we spend 100 million on him and he comes in as like the kind of character we want. I don't know. That's also a question mark. So there's a lot of things to consider for sure. So. Yeah, maybe it's too much of a risk. I don't know. He's
not like he's 20, 21, you know what I mean? He's at 24 years of age now. He should be coming in to like scoring a lot more than 3 goals at this point of the season.
And he has. Last season he was brilliant, and the season before that he was brilliant. He's having an off season. AC Milan are having an off season, and Pioli is a coach who's long overstayed his welcome at AC Milan. I mean, a lot of their players are underperforming. They have a lot of talent there, like Malik Tah, their center back. He's underperforming. Really, outside of Giroud, that entire squad is underperforming. So I don't really think it's fair to pin it all on Leao, because again, like Sim said, he still had about 10 goals and assists this season, and that's a decent return for a team that's struggling. And we know what kind of player. Yeah, you know, he was poor. He's been poor this season, but Son was poor last season. And look at him, right? Players just have poor seasons sometimes, and that's
Son was playing through injury, right? Though.
So I personally. Wait, I don't really know Leao's situation, honestly. Maybe he's playing through injury for all I know.
Yeah. Well, I think it's safe to say there are plenty of targets that we could be splashing the cash on this summer, and one thing's for certain that we all agree on, that Spurs need to be splashing the cash on a top winger this summer.
It seems to be, though, that according to what we're hearing, there does seem to be like a big budget allocated to a winger. This summer. That's what like the noises anyway. Like in terms of, we had Rafinha's on the list, we had Neto's on the list. Like I don't think that list would have been drawn up with those players on it if there's not a big budget allocated to that kind of players. So that's really positive.
Yeah, I just hope they're not looking at Rafinha just because, you know, he's not getting a look in at Barcelona and it could be a bit of a cut price deal. I don't think he's so bad. Come on.
I didn't want him at Leeds.
He's a good player, Rafinha.
I don't think so. Even when he was at Leeds, and we were, I remember that summer where it was Rafinha or Richarlison, and I still have the tweets. I was very anti Rafinha. I don't think he's been he's a hero ball player. He's not he's not a player that can. He's a lot like Marcus Rashford. And so maybe you're gonna look at me crazy, be like, "Oh, Marcus Rashford." I don't think Marcus Rashford is much either. I think he's a hero ball player. I don't think he's all that. He's a player who has moments, and he doesn't have moments consistently. He has moments throughout the season, and when he has those moments, he has one game. He has even just in a game, he has one outstanding goal, and then he disappears. Even at Leeds, that's what he was, and that's why he was so good at Leeds, because it was like, what do we look to? We have Rafinha, boom, moment of magic, 3 games. That was enough to keep Leeds up. And that's why he was so good there. But even that season, he didn't have that crazy of a return. He was actually still kind of average if you look at it on paper. I don't think he's ever been the caliber of player that he's made out to be. And I think at Barcelona, that was just exposed.
Yeah, that's fair enough, to be honest. It is fair
I think
enough.
I think it's a bit harsh, Ben. No, like from what I remember from Rafinha for Leeds, like I can remember him breezing past players and smashing the ball in the back of the net quite a few occasions.
But I get what he's saying, because a lot of it was just moments in games. I'm not sure if he dominated games for 90 minutes at a time. Like
Maybe.
a lot of them were free kicks as well. Like in that season, he scored 11 goals. How many of them were free kicks? Like probably a high percentage of them.
No, it didn't seem like maybe 2 or 3 probably.
I reckon more than that.
Reckon?
I mean, that's still decent for free kicks. If you think about how many free kicks,
I think he's a decent player. I don't want him particularly at Spurs, but I don't think he's, I think he will definitely be a handy player for anyone getting him off.
I like him.
What about,
I like him, but I like the other options that we've spoken about more than him.
What about Brian Mbeumo from Brentford?
Yeah, I think the funny thing about Mbeumo is everybody here thinks he's like 27. He's like 23.
Yeah,
he is like 23 or 24, which when I found out, I was like, what? But he's decent. But it's like, is he better than Timo Werner? Is he really better than Timo Werner?
I think he is. To be honest, I actually think
Not at 23.
Mbeumo would have been perfect for Conte ball. I don't know about Ange ball. That's the only thing. Like if he has to hug the touchline, I don't know if he's that kind of winger. I think he likes to be more central, kind of getting in on goal kind of play. But I do like him a lot. I think he's quick. He's got a great left foot. Very underrated. He's more of a transitional, maybe attacker. But I wouldn't be surprised if we look at him though. Being a Brentford,
he's one of those where I think upper mid-table, I think, is his ceiling. I don't think he has any place at Spurs with where I think we should be.
A few outside the box ones, maybe Dortmund have that player. Adeyemi, Villarreal have that winger as well. Pino, these kind of players, up and coming wingers from around Europe. They could also be viable options. You don't know Pino?
I think
you'll get to know, don't you worry.
No, I know who he is, but I'm saying I don't know where the hype from him is. Every time I see him, he's like, whatever. I think he's injured right now, anyways.
Yeah, didn't he get a long big injury? Right? I think. I don't know.
He got an ACL.
Yeah, I thought so. Yeah.
And then on top of that, every time I did see him, I never thought he was anything special. I really don't know where the hype with him. He never seemed that dynamic 1v1. He never seemed that strong. He didn't seem like he had that great of a shot. I don't really know what he has. So I personally have never really been impressed by Jeremy Pino every time I've seen him play.
Karim Adeyemi, though?
I haven't watched a lot of Dortmund, honestly. But from what I've seen, he just seems like a very good player. He seems like a decent player. I've watched a couple of games. The thing is, mostly what I've watched is Bayern games. I watched a couple of Leverkusen games, watched a couple of Leipzig games because I think they play very fun. And I think in 2 of those games they were against Dortmund, and he seemed. I don't think he ever dominated a game. But again, he's a young player. He seems like a good up and coming fast winger. I mean, there's not much. I don't think he's not one that sticks out to me like the other ones.
He seemed a bit like a pace merchant from what I saw of him, like very quick, but
unbelievably quick. Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't like whether there's more to him than that. You know what I mean? Like when he's got space to play in, he can be good. But whether he's like really good in those one-on-one battles. What about Chiesa from Juventus?
Oh, his injury problems as well, though.
Yeah, he's also got injury problems.
He is a top player. I love him so much as a player. I think he'd be perfect for us. But again, injuries are his problem.
Yeah, he's also got bad injury problems. But I wonder if we could get maybe Juve got problems with for money, and maybe we get him cheap.
One thing that we kind of have to, can you really name me a fast player that doesn't have injury problems? Like,
Yeah,
that's
that's true.
one thing we kind of have to
Except,
even Van de Ven, right? We have to accept that. Look, if we're gonna get a fast, dynamic winger, they're gonna have injury problems. I think obviously there's a limit to it. There's like Ndombele for example. Oh my god, when Ndombele first signed, he's obviously not fast, but my point is when Ndombele first signed, I remember under Poch. Remember that he played a game, get injured. Play a game, he got injured. He played a game, he got injured. Right? That's obviously unacceptable. But I don't think Neto, for example, is that bad. Right? He'll get injured, so like maybe for about a fourth of the season cumulatively, but he will give you some top for that 75% that he's fit. He will give you absolute cream of the crop performances, I think. Right? He's one that you have to. He's so good when he's fit that you're like you have to just take it in the chin and go. And say,
yeah, some players are worth it. Some players are worth it.
I mean, last season Neto played what? How many games?
He had a serious injury.
The year before, how many games did he play?
He had an ACL. What can you say?
That was ACL.
Yeah, but we're talking about year in, year out. The guy's 23 years old.
Yeah, but it happens. You know, it happens to players. But right now, he's the best he's ever been.
Had, since 2019, he's played 129 games for Wolves. So what is that? Divide that by 5, right? So 129.
20 games, about 23 games a season.
25, 26. I don't think that's horrible. And remember, a lot of that is look. 2019, he was like 18, so he's not fully bedded in the whole time either. So it's not like he's missing all those through injury. He might just be benched for some of it too.
You know, a player that really excites me as well that I think could be a really good option for us, but I think he's just signed a new contract with Sociedad, is Kubo. He looks like an unbelievable talent, one-on-one dribbling, successful take-ons. I mean, he's got the full package of what we need as a winger in a Postecoglou system, in my opinion. But with him just signing a new contract like last week, I think it was, he could be quite hard to get out of Sociedad. Say again?
He wasn't all that good against Iran, but honestly, the whole Japan team was shit in that second half. So I can't.
If you're going to completely just judge a player on one game, then who knows? But
you know who was
he's a top player.
Who was horrible in that Iran game. Not to. Yeah, he is. But you know who was horrible in that Iran game, by the way? Itakura. I have Itakura in that game, and I think we've been linked with him a couple times, right? That center back.
Yeah,
he was so unbelievably shit that he's the reason we won that game, by the way. I don't know if you saw the penalty that we scored in the 96th minute to win it. No reason. The ball comes in from the sky, misreads the flight completely. There's no Iranian players around him, by the way. There's at least 8 yards of space between him and the nearest Iranian player. Completely misreads the ball in the air, clashes into another Japanese player, gets up and just kicks out an Iranian player for no reason. And that really summed up how shit he was all that night. So if we ever sign him, remember that I said that for no reason.
Let's not sign him then.
Let's not. He was pretty. He was so bad. Oh my